Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 28 of Perfect Album Side. And look who we have in the co-captain's chair today for this episode, Mr. Rich Catino.
What's up? What's up, guys?
How are you doing, man?
All right. What's that Queen shirt? I see Queen, and who's on the shirt? What's on the shirt?
That's News of the World, my friend.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I see the robot now. All right.
Yep, the robot coming out.
Cool.
Yep, yes, indeedy. So
Awesome.
Rich and I have both picked out a perfect album side that we feel is a perfect album side. So remember the criteria, everybody. It's got to have two or more songs. It's got to be something that was originally released on vinyl or cassette or something where you had this, songs per side type of thing. And we feel that every song on these album sides are absolutely perfect. We wouldn't skip any of them. 5 out of 5-star classics, each and every one of them. So with that being said, Rich is going to kick us off with his perfect album side for today.
All right. So I'll actually show you the album. Make sure I got the right side here. All right. Striper, To Hell with the Devil.
Wow.
Side A. Did you see that one coming or no?
With you, Rich, I'm always pleasantly surprised. So that's a
You
good
know
one.
me, I'm always flying the flag for hair metal and power metal. So here we go.
Yes,
Great
indeed.
cover, by the way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Would you be surprised to say if I told you I even owned that back in the day?
I think most people did, because at the time, before it became the bad term, even though the bands were huge, they sold so many records, right? Great songs, great singles, everything, the whole genre. Still, people call it hair metal and they think it's a bad term or something, but still, right? How successful were these bands and the albums and the songs, right?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. So I don't care if they look like bumblebees, who gives a crap? You want to call them bumblebees, whatever. They were still metal, they were still heavy, they had great harmonies, great melodies, heavy riffs, right? So that's all that matters, So side A is Abyss, that little intro, little instrumental. It's like a little bit over a minute, really kind of moody. That sets it up into To Hell with the Devil, which, how great is that riff when it comes in? So, such a heavy riff. And then Michael's voice just soars over that song, but you still have the heavy riff behind it, right?
Yep.
And then the single Calling on You was, I don't know if it was the first one or the second one when they had it on MTV. Do you remember?
I don't remember. I just remember it was
either one, but they had 3 singles right in a row that are on side A.
Yep.
So, I mean, out of 6, that makes it perfect right there almost, right? When you got 3 hit singles. So you got Calling on You, which was more melodic, and well, all these songs are melodic, but it was much more poppy. But then 3 I absolutely loved. That was a little bit heavier. When they were, remember that video when they're in like that theater? That was really cool. And then Calling on You was actually a little bit bigger. It looked like a bigger budget, right? The way they shot that.
Yeah.
And then
they were like
honestly,
at this point in time, they were like on that verge to being one of the next big bands. It never really happened, but they were close, I think.
I think they did. They were doing arenas for a little while, weren't they?
I don't know if they were. Well, I mean, they weren't headlining like 15,000 seaters, but they were a little below that. But they're still doing well. Yeah,
a little below that.
Great gatefold. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of they did support slots and stuff, but they were still, the singles were huge and the album sold, right? So then you got Honestly After Free, the big hit, the big ballad.
Yep.
I love a great ballad, and The Way. Do you remember that song?
Yeah, The Way.
The last song on that side.
Yeah.
Another great heavy riff, driving rhythm to that song. It's a perfect side to that album. It's a really good album too. Even side B is good. I don't like it as much as side A, but side A is, perfect from the intro to the last song, The Way.
Yeah, it's a good choice. So I had their
if
first
you
couple
consider-
albums, and then I just kind of lost interest. But I will say, I love their guitar playing. I mean, those two guys.
Yeah, the 2 harmonies between Oz and Mike are awesome.
Yeah.
And then the vocal harmonies too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still got the first 4 actually. I got Soldiers.
Yeah, Soldiers.
Remember that video for Soldiers Under Command when that came out? I was hooked as soon as I saw that, heard that. And then the first one, very cool cover. right? Pointing at the earth with their names on the rockets, right? The missiles. That's awesome. So yeah, I was a big fan of these guys from day one.
Yeah, I
And
just,
even their new stuff.
they started breaking at a time where I just started getting into stuff a little bit heavier. I really jumped on the thrash bandwagon. And so like bands like
Okay.
I just stopped listening to them. No real apparent reason. I didn't dislike them. I just never went any further with them. Even to this day,
This is
I never bought
1986.
another Saxon album. I mean, a Striper album.
Really?
Never bought another Striper album. Yeah.
What about the newer stuff, the last four?
Haven't heard any of it.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, they're so good.
That's what everybody says. Yeah,
So good. You
Yeah.
never think it's a different decade. They just didn't miss a step.
Well,
Really.
Sweet still sounds exactly the same. I mean, he hasn't lost anything on that voice at all.
Right. Yeah, he still got the range and he still does it live too. Maybe not as often live. They tune a little differently too. And he sings a slightly bit lower, but he still can, belt out those high notes.
Oh yeah, yeah. And like I said, those guys can play guitar, and they still can, probably even better than back then. So
Yeah, they're
good choice.
still awesome. Striper's one of those bands that just keeps doing it, and they're still relevant today, and their music today is as good as their past. So
there you go. Cool. Good choice.
Yeah.
Well, I had a sinking feeling that Rich might pick a album from this time period, so I kind of did the same. So this album came out in 1984, so it's a little bit earlier, and this band was from Seattle area, I believe they were from, and it's another debut album. God, I've talked about so many debut albums this month on this show, but it's the debut from Metal Church, and it's side A, right? So get David Wayne on vocals, Craig Wells on lead guitar, Kirk Vanderhoof on rhythm guitar, Duke Erickson on bass, Kirk Arrington on drums. And I tell you, this is one of those albums, kind of like Moving Pictures as well, where side one or side A, it was so good that you tended to play that way more than the second side, which is also really good too. But side one kicks off with Beyond the Black, which is so heavy, so crushing. Yeah. And I always loved the production of Terry Date on this album. I think it's just absolute killer. The guitars are massive, and that goes into the bulldozing Metal Church, and they kind of like just merge right into each other, right? It's almost like you got to put Beyond the Black and Metal Church together as one, right? One doesn't go without the other, pretty much.
Right.
And that opening just fuselage of just riffs is just absolutely amazing. Metal Church, such a great song. And then you got the really, really great instrumental, Merciless Onslaught, which I wish was a little bit longer. It's just heavy. Reminds me of Iron Maiden a little bit in spots, like early Maiden from like the first two albums.
Interesting. We both picked an album that has a side A that has an instrumental too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because sometimes, back in this time period, a lot of the instrumentals were really, really short, and they were just kind of like throwaways. Right. Not in these cases at all. And then the last track on side A, which, could even be my favorite song on the album, Gods of Wrath, which is one of those it's kind of like a really early power metal ballad, sort of, right? Because it's got that like Metallica Fade to Black thing going on, right? With the mellow atmospheric intro, and then it gets really heavy and anthemic, then it gets mellow again, then it just totally crushes towards the end of the song. Really, really great. And it's like almost 7 minutes long. So Beyond the Black, Metal Church, Merciless Onslaught, and Gods of Wrath, side A, side one of Metal Church is my song for today. Still one of my favorite metal debuts of the 80s. And they've got a lot of really great albums, this band, but I still always say that my favorite is the first one.
Another band that still exists. Well, I'm not too sure if they are now since Mike Howe passed away, but still they were making music, within the past 10 years. New music.
Yeah, the past 3-4 years, right? Yeah. So it's hopefully they're going to continue on. I know it's been kind of tough for them since Mike passed away, but we'll see. I mean, they've survived tragedy before, so we'll see.
Yeah.
So there you have it, everybody. Metal Church and Striper. side A of both of them. So we'll hold these up once again. Let us know what you think about these two albums and these perfect album sides as we have called today. And also make sure you list your perfect album side for today here on day 28 down in the comments below. I want to thank Rich for jumping on board for this episode here
Yeah, thanks.
of Perfect Album Side. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We've got a couple more days left in the month. And then we move into me counting down my favorite 30 Southern Rock albums of all time in the month of June. So thanks for watching, everybody. This is on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Be on the lookout for Rich Catino popping up here and there on the channel in the coming weeks, as long as all sorts of other folks and other things we got going on here on the channel. And we'll see you real soon here. I am Pete Pardo. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.